All right, welcome back to class, everyone. We have a pretty straightforward lecture today, just some cleaning up with intervals. I hope everyone understood the last lecture, and I hope everyone understands intervals. It's pretty straightforward. It's just a matter of practicing and getting fast. So one explanation that needs a little bit of an explanation is the harmonic versus melodic intervals. So a harmonic interval is, as you imagine, the two notes that are played together. So they would be written out, if we had, for example, a perfect fifth, maybe D to A, right? They would be played at the same time. So on the piano, it would just be like that, right? So this is called a harmonic interval. If you separate them, so D to A, it would be called a melodic interval. And there are two types of melodic intervals. There is an ascending, so you can see that it's going up. So you've got the low note first and the high note second. So this is an ascending melodic interval. And then you also have I know, it's amazing, a descending melodic interval. So if you've got the top note going to the bottom note, then it's descending. So ascending and descending, whatever. Got it? So I'll play them both for you. So here's harmonic. Here's an ascending. So we've got D to A. And then finally the descending, which is A, D. So just to clear that up, it's something that seems obvious, but just want to make sure you guys know. Also, we have to deal with, in intervals, transposition, this concept of transposition. Now, if you're a horn player or a woodwind player, you're more familiar with transposition. If you're not, if you play something that is in concert pitch, like me, then transposition can be a very confusing thing. So basically, transposition is the process of rewriting a piece or a scale so that it sounds at a higher or lower pitch. So you transpose everything up or down, depending on what key you want to switch it to. So this can be used to, if you maybe are a singer and you can't sing in the key of D because you can't hit that high D or something. And you need to transpose it down to, say, C or B, right? So you can take your piece that's in E major and transpose it all the way down in B major by lowering everything down a couple steps. So this is the process of doing that. So one common interval or technique is an interval transposition. So in an interval transposition, we start out, for example, in, say, the key of B flat major. All right, so we're in B flat, and say we've got something like this. Now, we don't want a B flat major for whatever reason, so we decide to put it in C major, all right? So all we're going to do, B flat is a half step. Oh, why did I put C's up here? Oh, that'll be fine. So B flat is a half step lower than C, right? So what we're going to have to do to go from B flat major, right, to, actually, let me fix this here. This makes more sense. Totally. All right, so we've got this little lick right here. Goes. Okay, so B flat, F, A, got B flat. We want to put it in C. All right, so B flat to C is a major second, right? Right. So you do major second down here, and then what you do is you just transfer everything up a major second, right? So it's ascending, so we're going to go up a major second. So B flat up a major second is C. Major second higher than F is G. Major second higher than A is what? B natural, right? We'll just put that there because we're going from B flat. And then finally our B flat again, major second higher than B flat is C. So it's pretty simple. So we go from, sorry, B flat. Up a major second to that. So that's pretty clear. The other thing you can do is a clef transposition. So sometimes you have to switch clefs. Let's see. So you can take, a really common example of this is in bass clef, right? You'll see octave transpositions all the time. In fact, if you play the bass, it's always actually sounding at an octave lower than it's written. So in this case, they actually give you alto clef to substitute for a new key signature. So in this example, we start in treble clef, same little riff. We've got B flat, F, B flat, C, right? Yeah. All right. And then what they're going to do is have you transpose it down into alto clef. So here's our C. Right? C's right in the middle. And they want you to do it even an octave lower. Good. So we're actually going to have the same notes. But by changing the clef and changing the key signature, right? So C goes here. Right? So we've got this C, G, C, D, right? Or C, G, C, D. Like that. We go from this to, and actually it's way lower. So it would be an octave lower. So yeah. Oh, actually, if it's an octave lower, it goes down here. My bad. So your example actually tells you to play it an octave higher than this. So that's another possibility. You could do clef transposition. And then if we take another possibility, the tonal and non-tonal transposition. So this is particularly if you're going to transpose the key signature and the pitches. So if we go from E flat, you have to completely transpose the key signature. So this is a tonal transposition. So we're in E flat, go to D. All right, so we start our piece with E flat, go up to E flat, and then All right, so now if we want to go from E flat down to D major with two sharps, right? So we go down a half step. Everything drops a half step. So we have E flat. So that E flat drops down to D. It's a little confusing in your book, but essentially the interval transposition and the tonal transposition are the same process. So for an E flat major, but what they're trying to point out here is that when you go to E flat major, here's your tonic, right? E flat. If you want to switch it to D major, switch the tonic to D. But essentially what you're doing is the same process of just moving everything down a half step. So you have D, D, right? Then you just step down. And then you go up a third to F sharp. So these are your options. It's pretty clear. You can also do a totally non-tonal transposition, in which case you would just write all of the intervals, the accidentals. You're basically just not putting a key signature in. So if we were in E flat here, you'd have to write out all these E flats, E flat to E flat, E flat, so C natural, yeah. And then you would basically have to do the same thing here. So you'd have D, D, C sharp, B, C sharp, D, F sharp. So you're just not putting in the key signature. So that's basically it. It's a pretty straightforward. We're just sort of finishing up. Oh, the other thing I wanted to go over was interval inversions. So there's sort of a nice little magical thing that happens with interval inversions. Oh, we have to go over extended inversions too, I forgot. Or extended intervals.